Hello, everyone, and welcome. It is Wednesday, August 4th, and we're joined by everyone that is cool right now. We have a bunch of people in the building, including Marco Geiser from Germany. So we are going to have a blast of a hangout today. Got some really cool stuff planned. We have Jules joined. Good. We have Jules, who at the last minute of the day sent in a video, but it's so cool we had to include it. And we're going to spend some time with Marissa today. Marissa is our resident thin section photographer. Said it without stumbling. So she's taken some amazing pictures of thin sections under her microscope. And I have some loaded up that we're going to take a look at. But we are also going to attempt, if technology works properly, we're going to attempt to look at her microscope with her live. So something to look forward to. I actually logged out on my phone by accident, but Ben Fisler has his hand up and he is joining us in Arizona. Ben, how are you, buddy?
Good, good. Okay, so first I wanted to show you my 877 gram Campo.
Nice.
That is really good shape.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can put a little more light on the front.
Yeah, nice character on that one. Well, Regbaglyph
Nice.
right out at the tip
Yeah.
of the arm. That's pretty cool.
That's beautiful.
Jeez. We've seen quite a few really nice Campo samples, Campo de Cielo samples in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I bought that in 1997 or 98 at Tucson show. The other thing I wanted to show off was my 210 gram Gebel Kamil.
Oh, whoa.
Which you see, I have set off there with some Egyptian money
Mm-hmm.
for backdrop.
Very cool.
Nice.
I love Gebel Kamil. Yes, there it is.
Caramely color.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that
that's
texture.
beautiful.
And the alligator skin, yep.
For
What a
those,
character.
go ahead.
Yep.
I was going to say, for those on YouTube who are looking at this for the first time, this is a meteorite from Egypt. Pronounced correctly, it's Gebel Kamil, but
Oh, thank you.
Everyone calls it Gebel Kamil, or Camel, but it's Gebel Kamil, and it is known for what we're seeing there is the tangerine skin or alligator skin on it, and then it also has the really nice, like dripping shrapnel almost.
Yeah. Wow. That's beautiful.
You can use that for ice cream.
Thumbprints in that are unbelievable.
Jeez.
Super deep regs on that one.
Yeah, when I bought that, there were much larger pieces that I would have paid less for that I could have bought. Stuff up to 2 or 3 kilos, but this had more character than the larger ones that the dealer had, so I took it.
Yeah. Good choice.
Yeah, you've chosen wisely.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's what I had to show today.
Well, that's awesome, man. Thanks a lot.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, appreciate
Thank
you
you.
showing off those things. And I really love Gebel Kamil. It is just it is very unique, and I think it's the environment, the sand, there has to be something special about Egypt that does that to the iron meteorites, because I've seen another iron meteorite and it looked very similar, and then I found out it wasn't Gebel Kamil, but it was from Egypt. So, and bonus cool points for if anyone can name that, because I can't. Art Wagner has his hand up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What you
Okay.
got going on, buddy?
Now I'm gonna try to get this all set up for you. this is a slice of Chris Monk's meteorite that's still in classification, Northwest Africa, and it was a find in 2020. And it's provisional as of right now, but they had some nice, let's see, I got to move over here. I want to point to the blowout, chondrule blowout in this thing. You can probably see it already, but.
Is that a CAI?
Right there between these two, that's a chondrule blowout. And
Yeah,
I
think those, I'm sorry, go ahead, Art.
No, I mean, what I suspect, there is also, I don't know, some feldspar minerals or something, you know, in with these chondrules. I'm not calling them a breccia, but I'm not sure what the other.
Yeah, with those large, darker parts suggest some sort of lithology that could be a breccia. Or
yeah, I think it's likely that certainly the one to the right of the vesicle there, I think probably a carbonaceous inclusion, which is not at all rare for the more primitive type 3s. And if you'll notice too, in a bunch of the other chondrules, there are little vesicles. And I've, of course, we're all trying to work out what characteristics point you towards, 3.XX, the more primitive type 3s. But I think those little vesicles may be an indicator of being primitive. And certainly carbonaceous inclusion is another indicator for being primitive.
Now, if you give me a moment, I'll turn it around so you can see the backside. Okay.
And just for clarification, to be, this is not in classification. This is just an unclassified stone. However, I am sending a piece of it to Daniel Shake as a gift.
So, I'm sorry. Thank you, Chris, for setting me straight. I put out some bad information.
No, you're good.
I thank you. This is what I find very interesting. This one right here.
Yes.
With the black lines through it. I'm not going to call those like shock veins there in it, but I'm not sure. And some of the chondrules seem to have a ring around them, so they seem to look like an armored chondrule.
Yes, some of those. So I've got a slice of that one too, and I'm trying to clean up in the lab here, and I've managed to bury it underneath something. Mine came just the other day, but I believe that I see carbonaceous inclusions in mine as well, and I think that large black feature could well be a carbonaceous inclusion.
And Arthur was quick on the draw, and he actually got the sister slice to the one I kept.
Yes.
Of last week, the one you showed last week, exactly. Exactly. And I put that under the microscope, and my jaw fell on the desktop. It was just like out of this world, you know. So hopefully I'll capture a photo of it under the microscope, and I'll be able to share that next time.
Absolutely. Wow, it's a beautiful piece. It's a beautiful stone. I had the honor of having Chris Monk over at my house, and Chris is the owner of Rocks on the Ground. So he was over here and he pulled out these slices, and I immediately, like a Pavlov's dog, reached for my eye loop, and I'm sitting there with this thing, and I think I heard him jabber-jawing, but I was involved in this thing. So yeah, it's really special and beautiful slices came out of that one, buddy. I'm really happy for you, Chris, and everyone who got one.
And I thank you, Chris, for giving me the opportunity to be able to purchase such an amazing piece. Out of all the meteorites that I have, this piece shows the best chondrules of any of the meteorites I presently own. So thank you so much for making that available.
You're very welcome, Arthur.
We're going to do a little bit of learning, hopefully, today with the help of Pat and probably other people who are more intelligent than I am, with Marissa's photography. We talk about chondrules, and we throw out armored chondrules, and we just saw some chondrules that Arthur was saying are surrounded like armored chondrules. Armored chondrules have metal around them. These don't. These are ringed of some sort. There's also barred olivines. There's also bleach chondrules. There's a myriad of different type of chondrules, as we'll see in the art that was created by Marissa and her microscope. So I want to have everyone's juices flowing, ready to learn a little bit about chondrules and chondrule, what they look like. Maybe not chondrule formation, but different types of chondrules you'll see in meteorites. James Shelton has something in focus for us. Are you ready?
Yes, I am. This is kind of an unboxing. I just got home about an hour ago from the meteorite cutter, and I've got 6 pieces that he cut for me today. It's KD Meteorites. They're in Osawatomie, Kansas, and they're wonderful people, and they're only about an hour and a half from me, so I made a trip over, and this is the pieces that are going to go to Daniel for classification. This piece is 22 grams. This is 6 grams. Daniel requested a smaller piece so he can make some thin sections, and that's what this one is for.
I just realized what we're looking at. I had no idea what it was till right now.
Okay, well, these are smaller ones. I'm going to work my way up here, and I'll probably have to zoom out as we go. But these are the first 2. Let me move them aside. And sure enough, this is an unboxing. You are probably among the first people to ever see the inside of this meteorite.
That's why we do this.
Oh my.
Wow.
This is really an unusual piece. It's really dark, and it's got an inclusion there, but it doesn't seem to have any chondrules, just a lot of metal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what is that dark gang material?
The matrix? We don't know. That's why I'm going to have it classified.
Wow, that's really unusual.
That looks like the Punisher.
Let me move on up.
It does.
There's the exterior of that piece. Let me get it.
So this is different than the 1 kilogram then, wasn't it?
No, this is it. It turned out to be 850 after we cut it with the cutting losses. And that's 3. Let me get the next larger one here. This is, I believe, the end cut. Yes, this is the end cut. And I'm going to zoom out. That's the end. And this is the interior. It was very fractured. There was cracks everywhere.
That's wild.
Exactly. I'm trying to put a classification on it, over Zoom, putting it all down in resolution, but it's really strange. Lots of metal. It almost looks like the entire matrix is a melt.
Yeah. Here is.
Yeah, you look at it one way, it looks like an L6 or something, and you look at it the other way, it looks like Taza. Crazy.
Man.
Okay, we got 2 more here. This is a slice, and let me take it out of the case so we don't get any light reflection.
If anything under a gram fell off during cutting, I'll take a donation.
That 6 gram piece was the smallest, and that's going to Daniel.
Nice. Okay. Wow. This is super
This
cool.
is the other side.
And for those that may not remember or may not put the two and two together or may hear it here for the first time, we're helping Daniel Shake get over to Portland from Florida to continue his meteorite studies and classification profession. And part of that was we were doing some fundraising for him, and I put up a piece of my iron meteorite, and Daniel put up a free classification service, and we announced it on the Hangout, and James Shelton won that free classification service.
This is what's left of the 1 kilo. These were polished with 600 grit today. That's the cut, and that's the piece.
Wow.
Look at the depth of those cracks in that thing.
Amazing.
We were both surprised that it didn't fall apart.
I was just about to say, I'm totally surprised you don't have a bunch of 5 gram pieces. Look at the center of that thing.
Look, it like that crack goes like straight through from one side to the other. I'm amazed that it doesn't.
Yeah, you can follow it around. Well, I'm backwards here. Let me use the pointer. On the screen. This crack comes down through here, then it gets real faint, and then it comes down this side and gets really big. Splits here.
Oh, wow.
And I'm surprised this piece didn't fall off right here.
No kidding. Yeah.
If that thing got in the same room as my saw, it would fall into 20 pieces.
You see that little thing right there, that little white thing?
Yeah.
Or this one over here? That's sand.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sand from the desert, Northwest Africa.
And that's one unique thing that we also use as as another key to identifying a meteorite or a possible meteorite. Where we look for trapped sand like that. That's been nice and rounded off in the African desert.
Exactly, Topper. Very well said.
Thank you. That's a gorgeous. It's very unique. I have no idea what it is, but we're staying tuned week after week, and we're going to find out, man.
Yep, it's a good one. It's a good one to find out about.
James, if you sell any, let me know. DM me.
Okay.
Yeah. The goal was to leave it at 1 kilo on the dock, because it was a nice hand sample that he uses for kids and stuff and outreach. And if we took a 20 gram lab sample and then a little bit for a thin section, he was going to be right at 1 kilo, maybe less, depending on the cutter. So I'm glad you went for it and took some slices out of it.
Yeah.
And even more than that, I'm shocked, senseless that they all stayed together.
No kidding.
Good job, man. Yeah. Thanks a lot for sharing that.
Yeah, it's really, really unusual.
Mm-hmm.
Even the skin is a little different.
Yeah, we're all anxiously awaiting an update on what the heck that thing is. So pretty cool stuff, guys. Welcome again to this is our 61st in a row. Yeah, so good on us every week after week, man. And one way we're able to do that is we rely heavily on our friends in the meteorite community around the globe. And one of them is Domyan in Croatia. He was with us live last week, and he showed us this 716 or 700 gram chondrite that he got from Pat Brown. And we get to look at it. He did the box opening last week, but now we get to enjoy it at Domyan style with all the photography and cross-polarized lighting. So enjoy.
Nice.
Hi, let's start off by showing this fantastic new donation from Pat Brown I got a week ago. I will shut up now and let you admire this beautiful stone lit in 3 different ways.
Crust and flow lines, yeah, beautiful. Refraction cracks.
The crust on the back of that thing is so cool. It's really, really thick, and the contraction lines are really wide.
That is a nice piece.
Yeah. We're gonna have to do this in like segments on First off, props on those tags. Like, those are sweet ass tags.
Yeah, very professional looking.
Yeah, I like that a lot. So let's see here.
From Pat Brown I got a week ago.
Look at the flow lines.
I will shut up now and let you admire this beautiful stone lit in 3 different ways.
That rollover lip and
A lot of secondary crust.
Look at
Good.
there's so much to look at, but look at this little contour right here. Perfect, perfect in black.
I think in this video he'll show in reflected cross-polarized light, and you can see a bunch of the chondrules.
Okay, we're gonna have to digest it like an elephant, one bite at a time.
Oh,
So we're right there. Yeah, as Marco would say, frothy, bubbly fusion crust.
yeah.
So this is plain polarized light.
A beautiful example of an oriented meteorite.
Yes. Oh,
there's actually 2 different kinds of rollover lips. There's that big broad one that he showed, and then there's a very sharp one at the left side as well.
Man, look at
And
that
you can,
flow.
the flow lines actually do radiate from a point on the front side.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Man, if you could have found the rest of that rock to put together.
No
Yeah,
doubt.
that
Look at-
would be cool to have the whole thing, but it's really nice that it shows all of these different features in one rock.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
This is cross-polarized.
and you can see through it. I love that. It's like Superman X-ray vision. Drippiness.
Also, the contraction cracks on the front side of the piece. Cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice catch. I want to look for those contraction cracks under the natural lighting. Look at that.
Oh my goodness.
Oh
You
yeah.
just see all the chondrules popping. We decided it's probably a type 4.
Oh my word.
Look at how the contraction cracks pop with this cross-polarized
Oh.
light.
Yeah. Just like alligator skin.
Few little chondrule blowouts through the really thick crust on the backside.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm sorry, Topher. I guess my 2.7 gram sample doesn't quite
According to my memory,
pair.
it's got quite a bit of metal. I would definitely say an H class. Combine that. According to my magnet, it's got quite a bit of metal. I would definitely say an H class. Combine that with chondrules this visible even through the desert varnish, and I would guess an H3 or at most H4. The cross-polarized reflected light really shows off this beautiful fusion crust and chondrules in these photos.
Oh my word.
And you can see all the stippling and bubbles in the backside fusion crust too.
Oh yeah. Oh, boy.
Look at that.
Not sure if it's just the lighting, but some of those chondrules are very, very green.
And
We talked about that. There was one that was bright blue, but it turns out that's a trick of the light. It's
this one right
actually,
here. This
it's
one down
actually
here
white.
at 7 o'clock.
I think it was one of the whiter ones up at 1 or 2 o'clock there.
Okay. And there's some of them that look translucent.
Yes.
Like this one right here. And I'm wondering if that's a trick of the light as well.
Well, no, I think that's probably indicating that that there are some glass chondrules in here as well.
Tiny gemstones.
Cosmic art, man.
Absolutely.
Cosmic Arthur.
Look at that.
And great presenter. The video is great.
Look,
Yeah, he does beautiful camera work.
Okay. I'm pausing it right there long enough for everyone to do a screen grab because we all know that's going to be your wallpaper tomorrow.
Some of those chondrules look like they could fall right off of there.
I know.
There are some that are protruding. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. Let's not miss some narration.
Let us now switch to something much smaller. I've bought these tiny Ureilite fragments from Gemma Thomas from the UK. I think they look gorgeous, both under normal lighting and in cross-polarized light shown here.
Beautiful.
Clearly see large crystals typical of Ureilites. I also got this tiny little gift from Gemma.
Oh, hold on one second. We're not ready for that gift
Okay.
yet, buddy.
69, yeah.
I think they look gorgeous, both under normal lighting and in cross-polarized light shown here.
It just opens
You
it
can
up.
clearly see large crystals typical of Ureilites.
Oh, absolutely.
I also got this tiny little gift from Gemma. I already had a couple of stones of this well-known large fall, but I think this is my favorite one.
Look at the contraction cracks.
As he just keeps zooming.
I believe it's quite rare to have this beautiful contraction or weathering cracks on a stone that is this small.
Yeah.
Just like a road map.
The last two micros I wanted to show today,
Probably couldn't even fit anymore.
but I think this is my favorite one.
Yeah, and I don't think those are weathering. I think those are contraction cracks. And the way that works is the melted fusion crust, so that, you know, the combination of all the melted ingredients of the inside of the meteorite has a different coefficient of expansion with temperature.
I believe it's quite
as it cools, the crust opens up those contraction cracks.
And I'd like to get your opinion on something.
This beautiful contraction or weathering cracks.
Oh, no, not Marissa yet. We're not ready. You're ruining my surprise. Let's find out where we were, guys. Okay. This red material right here that looks to be bleeding out. Am I correct in saying that that's oxidized iron blebs?
Yes, that's rust staining. Yes, and so those are blebs.
Okay, thank you. I didn't.
The last two micros I wanted to show today, I got from Alan Mazur from Poland. Alan has some extremely interesting and rare micros. I couldn't pass on the opportunity to get this most historic of meteorites, being the oldest precisely documented fall.
Killer.
Krasnojarsk is also one of the most significant early finds. A first Pallasite, it was also used to finally convince people meteorites come from space, and also used in the discovery of Thomson structures, also known as Wittmannschatten patterns. I hope you enjoyed this quick show and tell, and hopefully see you next week.
Oh, yes. Beautiful.
We absolutely loved it, Domyan. You blow us away week after week, man. Yeah. And I love this shot of a piece of the iron and a piece of the olivine. That's fantastic.
The way he sets up his meteorites for composition, capture, shot is very professional. It's like looking in a book of meteorites.
Yeah. What gets me is, like, he starts zooming, and then he keeps zooming, and then he goes to insane levels and keeps zooming. I'm like, oh my god, like I gotta raise my game. Talking about
that was a cool custom background he made for the Krasnojarsk too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, absolutely.
Oh, the holder for it.
Yeah, it's a custom one he made for it.
Yeah, with both Paulus and Thomas on there. That really cool. Here we have one of our. Go ahead.
This is Oz. I got a question for Pat. Looking at that Ureilite sample that he showed, that looked a lot like my Almahata Sitta. You know, I was wondering, I know Almahata Sitta is basically a junk pile. Can it be Ureilite too?
Yes, there's now I'm working from memory here, but I believe there's at least 2 different Ureilite lithologies in Almahata Sitta. There's a fine grained and a coarser grained Ureilite.
Yeah, there's fine, coarse, and medium.
Oh, there's 3.
Mine looks just like that.
Yeah, along with the CB aspect of it, and also some E aspect of it, and some ordinary chondrite aspects in there.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking Ensisheim aspects, or Eucrite?
Yeah, no, yeah, Ensisheim.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, it is truly a garbage pile of just conglomerates.
And Black gets all upset when you call it. Yeah, and gets all upset when you call it a garbage pile. So
I know.
Really a rubble pile. Now, I can't repeat her accent, but yes, it's a rubble pile.
Excuse him, wall. Let's jump to a little show and tell. We have Chris Monk, Marco Gaisser, and Pat Brown. So we've already heard so much from Pat. He's getting old. Let's go to Chris Monk real quick. We lean on him when we need him, and then we throw him under the bus.
Yeah. So I'm almost a little intimidated to show anything that I have now that we just spent the last while looking at Marissa's fabulous thin sections. But prior to today, we had talked about the NWA 13992, the lunar fragmental breccia. But I recently, as of a couple of days ago, acquired a slice of it.
Oh, beautiful.
And so let me take it out of the case. Matt Stream listed it as the boot.
Yeah.
And we can see why.
Absolutely.
But I just thought that was extremely, extremely interesting. The inside of it, and I just had to have it.
Yeah.
And so I put up a ridiculous bid on eBay and got it.
Don't drop it.
Yeah, because it's very thin.
It's very reminiscent of 9 Inch's boot.
Beautiful.
Is there anything in particular that identifies it specifically as a moon rock? I mean, are they chemically different or?
Yeah, I'll let someone.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, they are chemically quite unique. So they're kind of a variations on the theme of the black mare basalts, the white anorthite highlands material, and Donald, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the yellowish sort of material grains in the center are probably feldspathic.
Yes.
And that's a fragmental breccia.
Yeah, so this is lunar material that through impact has been smashed into a solid rock.
Yeah.
Was that life on the moon I saw there?
Yeah.
Yes, it was. I'm gonna try not to curse at this fly right now. That is bugging me.
That's a beautiful.
Sell that to an Italian for $10,000.
Actually. Well, if I could sell this for 10,000, I can get another one that's much nicer.
That's the meteorite game. You always buy one and trade up and trade up and trade up. Well, that's beautiful, man.
Nice Lunar. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Matt
saw
has some extremely nice slices, and this is just one that I couldn't resist.
Yeah, a big shout out to Matt Stream of Streaming Meteorites. He's one of our friends of the Bolide and just an all-around great guy. I've gone camping and hunting with him, and just a stellar guy with amazing material. And it's a lot of it he's the main mass holder for. He's the one who sent it in for classification, and it's always important to pay a little bit of respect and honor to the people who are sending stuff in for classification. If they're the main mass holders, they kind of deserve a little bit of props and a little bit of our financial support, if you know what I mean. So with that, I'm going to invite Marco Gaisser in Germany, and he is luckily on vacation this week and wants to spend time with us.
Hey, Marco.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Fantastic.
Yeah, guys, I prepared a nice piece. I'm so sorry it's not oriented, but
Here.
ooh. Here we go. Yeah, as you can see here, it's a fracture surface, and that fracture surface is highly eroded, but it shows, please correct me if I'm wrong, a typical structure, and that typical structure is the monomict Eucrite, most probably.
Yep.
And what is really nice on those HED meteorites is the crust.
Oh man, you're killing us.
Oh my.
Wow.
And you can hear a nice rollover lip, that edge. But
Wow.
Wow,
Glassy.
look at that.
That looks like Gurara.
Yeah.
Look
Wow. And it's
so
very,
fortunately,
very.
that piece was lying in the sand of the desert, actually with this side, and the crust preserved perfectly.
No kidding.
Beautiful.
And if you have a look at the outside, you see that highly eroded stone.
Marco, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, that is wonderful.
The most beautiful.
God.
Want to sell it?
Fabulous crust.
Beautiful crust.
And the thing about most Eucrites is the crust on it. In some places, especially where it's air blown like that, it's almost translucent. You can see through it and see the matrix through the crust.
Absolutely. And also the crystals.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting that glassy fusion crust of the HEDs.
Wow. I'm so glad that it eroded only to that point, because it's
absolutely.
Look at that.
Does that
Man.
crust flake off easily?
Fantastic.
The crust wouldn't flake off easily, but something like that eroded, Marco has a better hand on it, but it's not friable and fragile. You wouldn't want to bounce it around, but you could handle it without it crumbling.
Yeah, you can handle it without crumbling, but it's not really stable. It's not as stable as a chondrite, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to take care, of course, but you can handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Marco, would anything on the white section fluoresce under long wave or short wave UV light?
I tried, but there was no reaction.
Okay, thank you.
I love this angle right there where you can see the front lip is just extended. Look at that void right there.
Like
Yeah.
Gel.
Like, I never ever want that to fall off for you, Marco. I hope that stays intact forever.
Yeah, hopefully. That's by the way the reason why it's not classified, because I'm afraid if I cut a piece of it that it falls apart.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I would say the classification is almost clear, of course. Yeah. And also here, maybe you can see the, let me try to figure that out, the rollover lip here.
Yep.
It's not oriented, but it shows that nice lipping here.
Yeah. So on a piece like this, in the past, we've had discussions about the term oriented. This isn't an oriented piece, but it does show flow lines and flight marks.
Yeah, exactly.
And
yeah, guys, that's the
that's
that I wanted to show today.
What's the weight
Looks
of
like
that?
a Van Gogh painting. Looks like Van Gogh style.
Yeah.
Some of that is there's a weird video compression algorithm that Zoom uses that gives it a triangular sort of look. And so a lot of that is video artifact.
Okay, yeah, I thought so, because it was looking like that only at a certain level of zoom. Yeah.
And that voice you're hearing right now, is that Jesse? I couldn't see. It sounded like Jesse.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
Nice.
I'm doing some work at home while also following the hangout. Yeah. So
good to have you
got
with
the
us.
dual monitors going, work on one monitor and Meteorites on the other.
Nice.
That's awesome. Well, we're really glad to have you, our Australian friend. So welcome aboard, man.
Thanks.
Yeah, we have Germany and Australia, and Canada in the house.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, we're in lockdown at the moment. So the good thing about working from home is that I'm able to be a part of the Meteorite hangout. So yeah, pretty good.
Cool.
Good deal.
I mean,
yeah.
it's not great, the situation with like the lockdown and all, but other than that, it's pretty great.
You know what? These hangouts were born from the lockdown.
Yeah, true.
You know, so that's if one good thing came from it, we you know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I remember, a year ago during the lockdowns, that was the most exciting part of the week, because I was just locked at home, nothing to do, so yeah, that was great.
Yeah, it turned out to be, you know, if you told me a year and a half ago that I would be a YouTuber, I would have laughed in your face like this. So let's check in with Pat Brown.
Yeah. Okay. So I have to put in a little plug for it's not a business, not selling stuff, but at some point here, I'll be adding some web content. So I was lucky enough to get Desert Meteorites and desertmeteoritics.com.
Nice.
My patches just came in from China today. So, so here's, I also got a slice of Chris's
Excellent. Nice.
wonderful Type 3.
Beautiful.
And we're viewing it here in reflected cross-polarized light plus some room light mixed in. And there's a, sorry, grab a pencil. There's a dark area on this one, and looking at it very closely under the microscope, it has little white flecks in it.
Yes.
I hate this camera. It doesn't autofocus very well. But there's some little white flecks in there, and I think that was almost certainly a carbonaceous inclusion.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was a beautiful meteorite, and it made some really nice slices. And then
wait, I have a quick
Glad I got two.
Is it considered unclassified because it just hasn't been unidentified, or is it unclassified because it doesn't fit into something else?
It's unclassified just because it has not been submitted for classification. And this thing is not a meteorite, and it is fucking nasty. Sorry, my language. It's a nasty, horrible thing. It's actually a piece of Autunite from Spokane County in Washington. And I'll shine the UV on it here. See if we can get it to. Well, it's still saturating the crap out of the sensor.
Yeah.
But if I move it around a little bit, it's not saturating it too badly. So it fluoresces quite nicely. And if we put a Geiger counter on it,
Pretty high.
yeah, Autunite usually, I haven't actually measured it yet, so we'll be measuring it together.
Yep.
And you can hear the Geiger counter screaming. And it's at 437,000 counts per minute.
Wow.
And rising on a alpha, beta, gamma probe.
And this is the half-life of the isotope, right?
No, this is just the counts per second of disintegrations coming off of it. This is a uranium mineral, but it will also contain some amount of radium and polonium and such.
Mhm.
So this other small Geiger counter is a scintillation counter. And it's a very small crystal, but there's 175,000 counts per minute. And it
That's the way to clear the room quick.
the thing sets off the alarm in the Geiger counter really well. And it's horrible, nasty, crumbly stuff too. All of the you might not be able to see them, but it leaves behind all these little fluorescent bits, which I've got to clean up and get off of my gloves as well. So that's what I had. Back to you, Tupper.
Yeah, awesome, man. That's pretty cool
That's
stuff.
really
You should
cool.
get yourself a cloud chamber, Pat.
And that was under short wave or long wave?
This is under long wave UV. It's if I switch back to, sorry, I kind of cleared things out here. Mouse, there it is. If I switch back over to the other camera here, sorry. Okay. So this is a flashlight from, I hold it right side up. This is my favorite UV flashlight from Amazon. It's about $60, but it has 3 incredibly bright UV LEDs at 365 nanometers and has a bandpass filter. That black glass in the front is a bandpass filter, so it puts out almost no visible light at all. And also, just for interest and fun, there's the little, this is actually not a Geiger counter in that it doesn't have a Geiger-Müller tube. It's a scintillation counter. There's a roughly 1 cubic, oops, wrong end. On this end, there's a roughly 1 cc of tantalum, or not tantalum, of sodium iodide. And then the other Geiger counter that I was using is a Ludlum.
There we go. Yep.
With the pancake probe, and so this actually is a Geiger-Müller tube that has a very, very thin mylar window, so it can measure alpha, beta, and gamma radiation. And
That's a nice unit.
yeah, I love this one. I've got a bunch of Ludlums, and this one is far and away my favorite. It's a 2241-2. Can store 2 setups for detector 1 or detector 2, and can do scalar counting and all sorts of stuff.
Do you use 2 6-volt batteries, Pat?
No, it just uses regular D cell batteries. It uses 2 D cells, and this little tiny one has a rechargeable lithium ion battery in it. It runs for 500 hours on 1 charge.
Wow.
Are there any techniques that you use with the 365 nanometer UV light? Just because I haven't got one of those, just because I'm too scared that I'm going to use it wrong and do some damage to my eyes or something. So I just stick with the 395. Are there any certain precautions for using a shorter wavelength one?
Eyeglasses.
You don't want to shine it in somebody's eyes, but the 365 nanometer is really quite safe. There is significant damage that you can do with the shortwave UV, with the more energetic, shorter wavelength. But these 365 nanometer LEDs are just fine.
Okay, cool.
I highly recommend that you get one. There's one on Amazon that's also this Alone Fire brand that's $24.99 US, that has a rechargeable battery, a very high quality LED, and has a filter in front of it. So the 365 is so much better than 395. 395 without a filter puts out a whole lot of purple visible light, and you don't get good excitation of polarized minerals or Norton County.
Yep.
I'm interested to see if the new NWA Aubrite will fluoresce.
We have been talking about that a lot, and Michael Kelly finally got some pieces and was doing some cutting for another dealer, and looked them over carefully, and unfortunately no fluorescence.
I was gonna try my piece. I was supposed to get a 6 gram piece of the new Aubrite there, but UPS has has lost it right now, and I have an investigation open, and it's stuck in Kentucky somewhere at the hub or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, good, but they've got it located. That's good.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. So, I had a really, well, this one here, really nice.
Oh yeah.
Probably CV3. It's in classification now, and it has incredibly cool other classification, big chunk in the corner there.
Yeah, a square one.
Doesn't want to autofocus. This one was lost in the U.S. Postal Service for, gosh, I think it was 6 weeks.
Oh, yeah. Well, I hope mine comes through, eh? So that's the fun.
It eventually showed up in Washington, D.C., which is not between the point for where it was mailed from and mailed to. So have faith. Yours should show up.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, I have about 225 grams inbound, so I'll be showing that off hopefully in 2 to 3 weeks.
Of the new Aubrite?
Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. So you heard it here first. I don't plug very much stuff, but if you want some Aubrite, wait a few weeks, because Chris, Oz, and I will have some, and you can buy it from them and then come to me for more.
Nice.
That being said, I am now going to throw it over to Mike Kelly. And
how's everyone doing?
Good. Hey, Mike.
Good, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing great. So one of the things that I was told for the last couple of years was go head up and see Al Lang up in New York. And so I finally got to do that this weekend, which is really cool because he and his wife, Iris, were the original people who got the Peekskill car. So I got to go up there and see the original American Museum of Natural History display, which was given to them afterwards since they loaned the car out to the museum, and got to come home with a original Peekskill Herald paper covering the fall of the Peekskill meteorite, along with being a person who does car hitting hammerstones, one of the lug nuts from the car. That's direct from Al Lang, the original owner. So that's kind of cool.
That is so awesome.
And then to make up for Marco, that was an amazing Eucrite. But we needed some oriented stones, so let's see if we can get some focus on there. Got some little shapely Gaos.
Nice flipping, real nice.
Yeah.
Flipping. That's nice.
Cool.
Getting away from me there.
Gao is a fabulous meteorite for orientation. Before Chelyabinsk, it was pretty much the oriented stone meteorite.
You get a little rollover lip on that too as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's got a roller lip all the way around.
Yeah.
We call that a hard lip.
Yeah, and the one I'm most happy about, and we'll see if this gets focused, is this little one. It's got a very pronounced back to it, where it kind of bulges out on the backside.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's the dome front, and there's the back. Getting away from me there.
Yeah, that's another underappreciated meteorite, like 869.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous now. Wow. And
So,
Gao was another affordable meteorite for newer collectors. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Gao's one of my all-time favorites. So that was cool. And again, March 5th, 1960. So it's been around for a while, but it's a classic.
There's still Gao's coming out of country. Marcin's Simla, Poland map. He gets a box every 3 months. He just got an agreement with somebody there. When they find them, they box them up and send them to him.
No kidding.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hold on a second. All right. We are checking in now. I know that looks really ugly, but we are checking in now with a video submission from our very own crew member, Jules. This is her first attempt at cutting Saracho. Did it go well?
You'll see.
Hey, Julie.
Hi.
Hey, Jules.
Hi. This is a 40-gram piece of Saracho. It's a Pallasite. It's my first one I've ever cut. I did glue it. I was just cutting it in half. I glued it just a little bit just because I was scared about cutting it because I've only cut chondrites and I am still learning. My husband wanted me to cut it in half and give
Looks like it came out pretty nice.
And
awesome.
Wow.
Part of it is nice and part of it is not. It took a lot of time. I reached out to Chris Monk for help. I took Mike Kelly's advice the other week with the lapping of it, turning it 180, because I had to think about it. He asked if that's what I was doing. I'm like, well, I don't know. I kind of go on autopilot. No, that's not what I was doing. But when I took what the advice Chris gave me and the advice Mike Kelly gave me and some stabilization stuff, then I was able to get it done. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. I struggled. I was on the struggle bus. I felt like forever with this thing. This piece here, I took down, I redid it twice and it's still not done. And I took it back down to 220 because I wasn't satisfied with how that turned out. I could probably screen share. I sent a picture over of the other piece that
I think I have that.
Gave me the worst trouble ever. One thing I learned, which I should have known and should have figured out sooner, but I did not, and the light bulb kind of turned on a little late for me, is that the olivines, when they're not stable and you're trying to polish something that has that much metal in it, your olivines are, I went up to 8,000 grit and the olivine would fall out and it looked like I ran outside and took my slice after the 8,000 grit and scraped it on concrete. It's much better now, and I don't know. I think it's a beautiful meteorite. It was fun to cut, but I wasn't sure if in the cutting process if I damaged all the olivines where they were just the tiniest little piece would fall out and just wreck the entire thing with scratches, I guess. So I don't know, that was my show and tell. I loved it and hated it all in one, if that makes sense.
It does.
It was very difficult. It gave me a lot of trouble. I spent more time than I'd like to admit on it. And hopefully it won't happen again. That was a lot of time. It took a lot. And I guess I'm still not 100% pleased with it. So I don't know. I think it's a combination of maybe how I started it, how I cut it, a combination of the tools that I have available to me, and my lack of knowledge, I guess. I tried.
Just keep doing what you're doing, and you will learn from just those are your own pieces. So cut them up, polish, and do it until you will know when not to do it, and that's how you learn. You'll have to sacrifice one or two here, but just do what the work you've done already is super. So keep doing what you're doing.
Exactly.
Thank you. It's fun, but very frustrating.
Siricho's pretty weathered, so to start with that one and get that good of results is just fantastic, I think.
Well, pictures hide a lot. I look through everything. I don't have a nice microscope or anything. I just look through my OptiLoop, and you can see everything. And let's just say if someone were to look at it through a microscope, it would be horrifying. I want it nice enough where and perfect enough so a person it can be easy on the eyes in a microscope, if one shall want it that way, I guess.
The struggle is real.
I have a question for you, Jules. This is on cutting a pallasite.
Fix my PC. I'll be with you guys in a second.
Okay. Cutting a pallasite, this is not a criticism. I just don't know. I'm sure it's painstakingly difficult, but can you burn the olivine crystal by going too slowly and darken the olivine crystal to almost a blackened color?
I think that would be a Mike Kelly question, because Mike, don't you own a machine that cuts slower than my high tech?
Well, you've got that water bath, so the blade shouldn't heat up all that much to do anything to the olivines or the metal.
I mean, for me, I use the highest speed. I use distilled water and nothing else.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it actually was pretty easy to cut. I thought it was going to be difficult with all the metal, and only cutting chondrites, but it wasn't bad. I don't know. I just thought it was pretty easy to cut, and I was super excited that it was better than expected to cut. But then polishing it is a whole nother story. So yeah, it's a whole nother deal.
Usually if you're going too fast, you're not gonna burn the olivines. You're gonna bind out the saw blade.
Yeah, and you can get an effect where if the center part of the saw blade is rubbing on part of the stone, it can make it appear black, but all that is a little bit of stuff on the surface. The problem with cutting olivines or with pallasites is that sometimes the metal can load up on a diamond blade and then kind of smear, but you shouldn't see any of that where you've gone through all the grits on polishing. So you're doing great. It's always good to be a perfectionist and to try and go for perfect, and in 30 years you might reach perfect.
I doubt it, but I can try. And I'm working on it.
But be satisfied with where you are now. You're 98, 99% of the way perfect.
Thank you. I wouldn't go that much overboard, but thank you. I appreciate it. It was a very tough piece, and I struggled with it. It was very hard to do. for lapping anyway.
So Jules, speed of cutting, speed. The same meteorite, cut it at some speed. Same meteorite, cut it at a different speed. Then you'll notice which is better.
That's a really good idea because I haven't tried that yet. And I was gonna try to cut the Pallasite at a slower speed, but I'm like, with the machine that I have and the motor that's on it, I thought that it would end up bogging it down, doing it at a slower rate. So I just did what I normally do and had it on the highest speed. And
Pat, can you chime in on this? Is there any type of a rheostat that Julie may be able to hook up, you know, like to 110 power, I'm assuming she has, that would step down a motor?
It's already built in.
Yeah, that circuitry is already built into the saw that she has. Yeah, and it's way more complicated than a rheostat. It's actually a motor speed control where you just change the line frequency, and that is built into her saw. Those saws
Also,
have a fractional horsepower motor.
Change the pulley wheels.
This one is direct drive.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Gotcha.
You know, one thing that I will add to that too, Jules, is that when like I haven't been cutting meteorites that long, but I've spent 20 years cutting terrestrial stones. And what I found is that the more you cut, you will be able to feel with your hands, you will be able to feel the speed that the saw wants to cut the particular stone that you're cutting. As you get into harder material like Zarev, I just cut a whole bunch of Zarev. That was one of the hardest, ridiculously hard stones that I've ever cut. And I've cut a bunch of agates. I actually broke a saw one time cutting an agate. You just have to feel, and you'll let the saw do the work, put the pressure on it that you want, and you'll feel the saw like communicate back to you as you're going through it. Mm-hmm. And that just comes with cutting stone after stone. Yep. And you'll figure it out. It's the one thing about Pallasites is you have materials that are different hardnesses. Yeah. And so especially when you get into the lapping process and the polishing, one thing that I found is I use a glass surface, especially with when you're getting like into that one. Probably when you said 9,000 grit, you went to hand polishing. Is that correct?
No, it was just on my slant cabber.
Okay.
It's just it's a 8,000 grit.
Okay. So when I've done stones into that higher grit, I take the sheet, I do it by hand because I don't have lap wheels that are that high, but I put them on a glass sheet that is perfectly flat. And then when I'm rubbing it by hand, at least, even though I had some material may be slightly softer than the other material, it's grinding it at the same, what's the word? Just
the same rate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. It's taking it at the same rate. If you were to take in reverse and put that paper in your hand and go over the top, the weight and the squishiness of your hand is going to get into those softer materials, and you're going to create some waviness, and you're going to take those little chunks of olivine that fall off and dig it in. Whereas if you have a perfectly flat surface, it'll control that wear rate.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There's also a huge difference in that the olivine is going to be brittle, and especially because it's shocked and potentially weathered as well. And then the iron is malleable. It can bend or move a little bit at a very small scale. So it's just, go slow and careful, and like the feeds and speeds on the saw, you'll get the feel of it it's one of those, you got to do it for hundreds of hours sort of
Well, I
things.
think I get too excited too, so then I end up not being patient enough, and then at the end I probably push it through too fast, or maybe even at the beginning. And there is an advantage to polishing by hand. You don't have all the vibration of your lap wheel, or if you're not at the right speed, or just the vibration. I just noticed that, and with polishing the Cerato, my machine vibrates too much for something like that. I think you'd almost have to go through it really fast, and you can't take it back and redo it when you make a mistake 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
And be patient with yourself and learn as you're going along. None of us were born knowing all this stuff.
Yeah. One thing I learned by cutting Cerato was when you compare it to chondrite stonies, stonies don't retain any heat. And when you're cutting through a thick Cerato, if you're not running enough lubrication and coolant in your cutting fluid, that stone will heat up rather quickly. And so definitely up your game on water irrigation of the cutting to take as much heat away, make the cutting easier, and also save your blade life.
Thank you.
Yep.
And use a CBN blade.
Yep. Cubic, whatever.
Cubic boron nitride. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
The CBN blades. Yeah, the CBN blades, and that material is like diamond, but chemically it's different. And the CBN tends not to load up with metal as much as a diamond blade will.
Yeah, I suppose cutting, it was a small piece, and I only cut 1 Pallasite, so it wasn't gonna murder my blade, or it didn't, that part went pretty well. And I just used a diamond blade. I do have a CBN blade, but I don't have a saw for it, so.
The other thing you can do, so like after you cut something that's really high in metal, is take some like obsidian or some type of glass and cut that, especially on like lap wheels. If you take that glass material like an obsidian and you grind it down all over the surface, it will remove a lot of that buildup that gets stuck in between the diamonds.
Okay.
Wow. I didn't know that.
I've heard that you could use bricks and tiles for that same method.
Wow. I'm gonna have to give that some of that a shot. Meteorite Mansion 2022, baby. Because we're gonna do some serious cutting and lapping. That's gonna be like 16 days of wet fingers outside at 3 o'clock in the morning.
You can actually buy some ceramics which are purpose built for dressing the saws after you've cut these things.
True. Yep.
Nice.
All really good stuff.
Yeah, keep going, Pat. Don't let me shut you down.
Sorry, it's a really, really good hangout that evolved in a real natural sort of way, and I'm just tickled pink to see all of Marissa's photos and a live shot through her microscope too. That's absolutely wonderful stuff.
That was today's bonus. And the thing about it is we discussed during a pause. That's one thing you got to join us live, because you didn't know that today's actually going to be 2 hangouts. The Marissa thin section photography discussion about chondrules, and it is just golden. So we're splitting that off. It's going to be its own hangout. And so when you watch this video, you missed out on an hour of really, really cool stuff.
So go find the other video.
Yeah, absolutely. And then like them both, hit subscribe, and tell all your neighbors.
Absolutely.
It was a great hangout tonight, guys. Thanks everyone for your participation. Made my job so much easier. Great having all the foreigners in the building. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Bye, guys.
Great job.
I'm gonna hit stop.